We're here.
Hey, we live.
This
We
is
are
it.
here.
You heard about it. We've been talking about it.
And it's here.
And it's officially happening. We are CPR. Coach Perrone, Rodney Cox.
Yes.
Throw up the twos one time for them so they know.
Throw up the
22 ASU alum behind the camera.
You see it.
Here's what we're doing, guys. We're just, Rodney and I played with two ideas of naming this show. And we love CPR recruiting because really what it's going to be about is trying to breathe life into the recruiting of a lot of the young men around the country.
Yep.
We also played with the idea of keeping it real because that's what we do here. We're not here to tell you what you want to hear. We're here to tell you what you need to hear.
Right.
And what you need to hear is the truth.
And it's the truth, and sometimes it hurts, but it's going to make you better.
Yep.
Let's go.
And I had a lot of people say, Rodney, and I'm sure you've heard this, well, your truth might not be my reality. That's true. But if my truth motivates you to rewrite your reality or whatever, hey, that's a win for both of us. Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, it is.
With that being said, normally what this show is going to consist of is a lot of truth, right? But we want to start bringing on various guests talking about the world of recruiting, how the topics of today are affecting the world of recruiting.
Most definitely.
Obviously, we know high school transfers are hot.
Oh, tell me about it.
So I think today's show, you and I spoke. We've got 4 great guests that are going to come on, join us, talk about the high school transfers and what a parent thinks of it, a high school coach, a player, and a college coach. You get 4 different angles, and I love what we're doing because we get a lot of slack. At the end of the day, you and I get a lot of slack about, you should never pay somebody to help you recruit.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's funny because our
input, I don't know.
Our people, our kids, our athletes, our customers. Thank you.
Go.
Our customers don't feel like that. And when we get them in, they do. And the reality of this is sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge my recruiting service, your recruiting service, as some of these big digital platforms that are out there now, or, the big companies that are charging $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to get in and then never speak to a human. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Go ahead. What do you add something to that?
Look, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Because again, like what you said, we do hear that. At the end of the day, we're here for the kids. We're here for the families. We're here to make it easy through the recruiting process, because this recruiting process is a roller coaster and it's tough. So to have somebody alongside to walk with you, it's a beautiful thing. So, hey, what's good for one family might not be good for the other, and vice versa. So, hey, I'm excited. Game Time is excited. I know my recruits is excited to get this show going. Again, like what you said, we have some amazing guests that's going to come on today from, again, the coach, the student, the parent, the college coach. So, hey, it's game time.
Hey, we have to, I got a little board over here to the left of the desk. And every time that he does a game time plug, I got to put a mark down because the show's producers is going to charge $5 every time there's a game time plug. Oh. Actually, the funny thing is we should come up with a logo because we've got a couple kids that we work together, which is a great situation, but we should come up with some kind of combination thing. Hey, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that aren't excited to see us together.
and it's okay.
And that's when you know you're doing the right thing.
Doing something right.
Coach Perrone from My Recruits. It's game time on the other end where the twos are up. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we're going to come back with 4 amazing guests talking about high school recruiting and how it affects us with the world of our business and college recruiting. We'll be right back. Rodney, let's do it.
Peace.
The world of high school football recruiting is one of the most dishonest industries there is out there today. But here at CPR Recruiting, we give you 2 options. Coach Perrone is honest, hardworking, and develops a personal relationship with you and your family. Rodney Cox is one of the most well-known former Division I athletes who works on your behalf, trying to get you to the right school. You can reach My Recruits at 602-501-3292 or on Twitter at Coach Perrone or online at myrecruits.org. You can reach Rodney Cox from Game Time Recruiting at 480-399-1396 or on Twitter at GameTimeRC or online at GameTimeRC.com. 2 people willing to work for you.
We are here.
Are we on?
Yo,
We're on. We're recording, guys. Hey, we're back. Hope you like the intro. Like I told you guys, Rodney and I, there's going to be some kinks to work out, but we're bringing this thing real. CPR recruiting, you know, it is what it is, man. We ain't got nothing to hide here.
Hey, we here live, coming at you. Again, breathing new air, new life to the recruiting world, the process. So let's get to it.
Here's what we talked about. Let's briefly touch base on we talked about how hot transfers are at the high school level, right?
Right.
Okay. So we want to talk today. We've got a couple guests coming on. We want to talk today about how the recruiting end of things, right? What we do is really kind of focused around these transfers. I mean, we've got guys that are transferring and it's a good situation, right? And it makes sense. We got people chasing transfers and losing full seasons on a double transfer. Doesn't make sense. We've got parents not understanding. We've got college coaches going, I swear, Rodney, I'm not going to bring up any names. I just got off the phone with a very big Big Ten coach, and we were talking about a recruit, and he says to me, I hope the kid doesn't transfer because I want to see his first 5 games. Flat out.
And that's what parents or athletes are not understanding is going into your senior year, coaches look at the first 3 to 5 games. Well, hey, newsflash, if you transfer, you're not playing those 3 to 5 games. So now you might lose on an opportunity.
And I understand, and you understand sometimes it's necessary.
Right. Most definitely. Most definitely.
You know, Chili brought up a good point the other day. You know, he put it out on Twitter, and you know, I very rarely comment on anything that he puts out there. But I did. And I said 100%. He says, if you don't have to lose those games, if you don't have to, don't.
Right.
You know, and it makes sense. All right. So we got a couple guys coming into the waiting room. So I want to bring on Scott Craddock. Scott Craddock is, Brandon Craddock, the 22 linebacker out of O'Connor, recently has some offers. Great player, was up for the Ed Darty Award. He's a parent that's very grounded in this process and almost was a transfer guy, but we'll get into that. Let's bring him on and see if we can make this thing flow smooth.
Right.
Hopefully.
Let's see. Hey,
he's going to be live from the O'Connor track meet too. So that's how dedicated my guys are.
Yeah, there we go.
He's going to take it. He's going to actually just stop watching the track meet and get on a Zoom with Rodney and Coach Perrone. That's what I love.
There we go.
He's connecting to audio.
And then boom. Uh-oh. I hear it.
Coach Perrone,
Scott Craddock.
what's going on?
Can we get some
I love
video?
I don't know. How do we do that?
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Turn your video on. See, it's unscripted here. You just got to
My
click
video on.
start video, and then we'll
In the
get to
bottom
see
left.
we'll get to see the beautiful scenery at the track meet.
Oh, this could be.
There
This
we
might
go.
be more than you asked for.
Yeah, all right. Yes. Mr. Craddock, thank you for joining us here on the CPR Recruiting Show. I'm
Most
Coach
definitely.
Perrone, as you know.
Mr. Rodney Cox, how you
My
doing,
partner,
sir?
Rodney Cox.
Rodney, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Just out here at Horizon High School at this O'Connor track meet.
Okay. Having fun out there. Let's get it.
So, Scott, try to stand still because we don't want to lose your. I know how important the time is. Obviously, you and I have spoke a lot on what's going on in particularly Arizona, but how these high school transfers, I mean, it's becoming big business. And Rodney and I said, listen, we just want to get some opinions, right? Rodney's got his opinion. I've got my opinion. So I'm going to go to somebody that, you know, is not afraid to give his opinion in you. And we want to know, right, Rodney, as a
Yes,
parent, how do you feel about transfers? How do you feel about, you know, if your son had a transfer, how do you feel about transfers coming into your program at O'Connor? Where do you stand on this?
Well, you know, that's an interesting question, Lou. The first thing I always think about is I don't know if I understand the motivation behind it, quite frankly, from the player's perspective. I mean, in some respects, motivation might be they think they can go get some offers. You know, they go to a top tier program like Saguaro or whatever, and they think maybe they go there and they're going to get offers. And, you know, we do see that. We do see that when they transfer, that sometimes they get some initial offers. But at the end of the day, if they can ball, they can ball. If they can't, they can't.
Right.
On the other side of the coin, it's like, well, do they want to go and play against better competition? Is that the motivation? Do they want to play against better competition? I get that. I can see that. You know, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and you played for your high school. I mean, that was what you had your whole life. You had 4 years with your high school. You bled that color. I mean, even to this day, I can talk to people that I went to high school with, and I just don't get why you just want to leave your high school that you grew up around to go play another team or play for another team. Now, maybe it's the motivation on the parent side. I don't know. From the coach's side, even though they're not supposed to be recruiting, you know, I get that they want to improve their program. I mean, if somebody wanted to transfer into O'Connor and was a really good player, from a coach's perspective, I can get why you might want to have that player join your program.
Right.
But, you know, it's just messing up everything, though, because the balance of power in our state is out of whack.
That's a great point, Rodney. And Rodney and I spoke about that. And, you know, by balance of power, I think I could touch on, I spoke to a 6A coach who said, listen, if you're going to take the gloves off, let's take the gloves off for everybody so I can go recruit too.
Right.
You know, and you're starting to see a lot of maybe the same schools picking up a lot of big time players. And I could understand, like you said, Scott, and Rodney, I don't want to speak for you, but I could understand the motivation for those guys to change offers. But Rodney and I talk about the bottom line is you got to get on the field and put film together.
Right.
So to lose the games, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, there's good transfer situations out there. I mean, Scott, most people don't know, but we were in the process of Brandon being a transfer guy, you know, and we can openly talk about it now, you know, because it was an out of state situation where he was pursued by a very, very big, prominent out of state school. And it was on the table, you know, at the end of the day. And we knew we could stay at O'Connor. We've just picked up our third Division I offer,
Mhm.
but it's something that you have to visit, right? And say, well, is this a better situation? I don't know, Rodney, what do you think? Do you have how do you interpret that, what Scott's saying?
You know what? The beautiful thing about this is we're all kind of on the same page with, if it's a good move that is going to help the young man out or help the parent out, perfect. Because again, like what we talked about before, Coach Lou, is what's good for one family might not be good for the other. And like what you guys are saying is get on the field. Us or a family going to the Chandlers of the world and the Hamiltons of the world, stacking their team, not really stacking their team up, but going to those top-notch programs. These other schools, the I don't want to call them bottom tier, but those tier guys are losing talented players. You know what I mean? Which, let's be honest, everybody wants to go to a winning program. I get it. So you got to look at the ins, the outs, the pros, the cons, things like that. Go ahead, Coach.
There's so much. There really is. It's just, I don't think you're ever going to get it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. Or, I mean, it's
right.
It's an individual situation, but I think what to touch on what you said, Rodney, which is not to call them bottom schools, but how does and I'm going to use the example because he's going to come on the show. How does a Carl Hayden compete?
Right.
It's hard. This is a program. I mean, and a head coach who gives his heart and soul into that program and those kids. I mean, those kids, he is like a father figure to, but nobody's saying, hey, I want to transfer into Carl Hayden. What he has to do is he almost has to protect. When he gets an athlete, it's almost like he's got to hire a bodyguard. Has anybody reached out to you on Twitter? Have you spoke to anybody? It's not what football was meant to be.
I mean, I hear that, and I think that's something that is a shame that coaches are going to lose good players. But I would say that's going to happen. I mean, you got to play with who you have, and you go out and you compete. And I think most coaches are coaching because they have a love of the game and they have a love for developing players and developing young men. Yes, everybody wants to win. If a kid wants to leave because they think it's better for them, I mean, as a coach, okay, I'm gonna work with the players I have. I think in Arizona we tried to set up this open division to try to help a little bit of this. I don't know whether we need to go to 7A, 8A. I don't know, but the rich keep getting richer, and the middle of the pack is really what it hurts. I mean, O'Connor, the Mountain Ridges, the Boulder Creeks, the Highlands, Castiles. They're we're all kind of in the middle of the pack. We can compete, but once we get to that next tier, and if we lose one or two players, then it becomes difficult. It's a tough subject. Losing 5 games is difficult, but if you lose 5 and then you pick up 4 in the playoffs and you're still playing 9.
Yeah, and that's how you think about it. Scott, I think it was you and Rodney. I don't know if I told you this, and then we're going to have to bring Coach Arenas on. Scott, I know you got to get back to the track meet, but I think it was you, or it might have been one of my coaches that said, where they should penalize these guys is they can't play the playoffs if they transfer to these big schools.
Right.
Right.
And I thought that was a very interesting point to bring out. I mean, hey, listen, I don't make the rules. Rodney doesn't make the rules. We're just bringing it out there and talking about it. So, Scott, thank you for your time. I appreciate it so much. We'll definitely have you on again, and enjoy the rest of the track meet.
Yeah, Lou, you're the best, buddy. Thank you.
See you later. So he brings up a couple of good points, Rodney. He does.
Right.
I like that middle of the pack stuff. Well, how does that coach compete? Let's bring on Coach Arenas from Carl Hayden. I'll let you start off. I'll introduce him.
So hold on real quick.
Everything.
Hey, so this guy, my little guy, needs some water. So I gotta get him some water.
Go ahead. Hey, guys, this is the way we do it, man.
Right, my
Lodge
man.
in charge. Rodney,
come here.
We got priorities. Bring him on the show.
Hey, my man needs some water. Okay, so I need some water.
Listen to me. When you go to a school and you pick a high school, I want you to stay there.
Right. All right,
Good.
let me go get him some water. Hey, give him thumbs up. Give him thumbs up. Say thumbs up. Okay, let me go get some.
Guys, Rodney's going to
Hey.
step back, take care of some necessary business.
All right, come
I'm
here.
going to bring Coach Arenas on.
Come here.
We gotta go get some water. You said
Yeah, I love an unscripted show. It's awesome. It's the way we do things here at CPR. Breathing life. Coach, come on and connect. We know you're there. Hey, all right.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Awesome. So my co-host Rodney Cox had to step away briefly and get his son a glass of water. But welcome to the show. I want to thank you as usual for taking time out of your schedule. Coach Steve Arenas, he's the head coach of Carl Hayden High School in Phoenix, Arizona. And I just started talking about you, Coach, a little bit prior to bringing you on because I had Scott Craddock as a guest in the parent segment. And he said, you know, the rich keep getting richer. And when you're a mid-tier school, how do you compete? And I said, well, a great point. We're going to be bringing you on and talk about a head coach. And I said, a head coach who puts every bit of blood, sweat, and tear that he has into his program. I mean, these kids are treated like family. I mean, if you get a big time athlete, is it fair to say you have to literally look over your shoulders because you're worried about that kid leaving?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Coach. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You know, it's funny you say that. You know, we do at times, you know, sometimes we get an athlete or two, and we do have to worry about, you know, hey, is he going to start playing in some 7-on-7 teams, and is he going to get snatched up? And it's not just something we kind of, you know, try to build our culture around and hopefully create a positive experience for our kids so they don't want to leave.
Rodney, Coach Arenas, Coach Rodney Cox, my co-host, owner of Game
How you doing,
Time
Coach?
Recruiting. So, you know, we need to get, obviously we can bring on a big time head coach, not that you're not a big time coach, but a big program.
Mm-hmm.
And he might have a different outlook on this thing, but I wanted to get your opinion on it because like I says, I know how hard you work firsthand and you've got a couple of guys, you've got some 2022 linemen that it's almost like Rodney, when Coach and I sit there and I handle the whole Carl Hayden program, but it's like we talk about getting the exposure. He's got an offensive lineman that's a couple of them. It's like, well, we want to get him out there, but there's that slight reservation of, well, do we want to get it out there? Because he doesn't want someone to come steal the kid away.
And
the
that's
kid's
tough.
fine where he's at. He's happy. But then they start hearing, hey, if you come here, we can do this. If you come here, I could promise you this. And I don't know, you know. Go ahead,
You
Rodney,
know what?
I'll kick it over to you.
It's just crazy, Coach. Just with like what we talked about before, this is a touchy subject. You know, again, like what we talked about with Mr. Scott is, you know, do we want to keep on supplying these top programs with all of the top kids? And we can say it like that, where now that middle tier and that bottom tier schools, you know, they start to kind of lose a little bit because they're starting to lose their top guys. So again, I mean, transferring is tough. I know nobody wants to talk about it. So Coach, you know, we really do appreciate you coming on, giving your input.
Right.
Because again, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. I respect what Lou says about this topic and Lou respects what I say about it. At any given time, I mean, again, like what we talked about, what's good for one family might not be good for the next. You know, not everybody can go to a Saguaro. Okay, not everybody can go to a Chandler. You know what I mean? So, hey, stay put, athletes, stay put. Film is important, okay? If you can play, they'll find you. But the most important is if you're with either, hey, my recruits or Game Time Recruiting Consultant, oh, you going to college.
You know, and that's a good point, Coach, because you and I work several players that we've put through, you know, the program. And Rodney's sent more guys D1 than most recruiters have forgot over the years. You know, he's played Division I when there was no transfer portal in the Pac-12, and he's been through this. But, you know, as a Chandler, as a Coach Gerritsen, who I respect to the moon and back. This man, I will be the first to say, he is not out there recruiting, but he's got a great product, you know, and he does everything by the book. So if a great athlete wants to come to Chandler, what is he supposed to do? Say no? How do you know? So I feel like it's going to fall back on the AIA to try to set some boundaries and guidelines to make it, I don't know, maybe make the penalty more to try to not encourage it. But I mean,
you know what,
we talked about it, Rodney. You've got kids doing double transfers now, losing a season. Like, okay, that's all right.
I know it's bad. I know. So we might need to sit down with AIA. We need to talk to them because that needs to happen. Again, I know they talked about what you said with Mr. Scott is they're trying to take the back end games. But then again, let's be honest. The front end games is the ones that college coaches really want to look at. So if you really want to go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I want you to say.
And I was going to say, basically, if we take the back end games and keep the front end games, then the kid still wins. I mean, we always want the kid to win, but there needs to be a penalty. There needs to be, because
here's what'll happen. And you know this, Rodney. The one guy that they'll catch is that guy right there in the Zoom with us, the guy who doesn't recruit, who's going to probably turn around and talk to a parent and say, oh yeah, well, we're in Phoenix and we'd love to have you come. And then that's the one that they'll catch and try to make an example of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, Coach, if you could say something to the AIA about this, what would you do different? Is there anything you would do different?
You know, Coach, I think that's a little bit above my pay grade, if I'm being honest. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, like you said, we're trying to just build a good program, a solid product.
We play by the rules. We don't make them.
Sure. We're just trying to build a solid product and you know, represent our community and give our kids something to be proud of. But, you know, something I've noticed, Coach, if I can comment, is just really, you know, no one goes on social media. And like you guys said, we can't fault the parents, we can't fault the athletes, we don't fault anyone here. This is a really sticky situation, but you know, no one goes on social media and talks about sometimes the consequences that come after you do transfer, right? Like no one says I'm transferring to this school and then tells a sad story, right? It's always it's sort of more glamorized a little bit, and so I think that's something to think about. You know, we always see you know with colleges going to the transfer portal. And, you know, sometimes we're seeing kids like, hey, thanks, Coach, for the opportunity. I'm going to this school now. And it's almost
we're
glamorized.
Seeing the green grass.
Exactly. And sometimes that situation
let's bring on the kid that transferred, Coach, to what you're saying. Let's bring on the kid that's transferring and talk about how devastating it was to lose that film. You know, and balance it out. Rodney, he brings up a great point. Well, Coach, at the end of the day, I respect you to the moon and back because you do not recruit kids. You play with what you have. You treat all of your players equally. If you have a 5'7" cornerback that runs a 5'0" 40, you recruit for him just as hard as the 6'6" offensive lineman. And that's the reason why at the end of the day, if somebody says, hey, we're moving into Central Phoenix and they ask me, where should we go to school? I could give them the name of your program and I can hold my head up high because I think it's a matter of time before you start harnessing a really big time culture. And I know you're close to doing it and I wish you the best of luck.
Hey, I appreciate that, Coach. Thanks for having me on. Coach Cox, it's nice to meet you. Thank you.
Hey, likewise, Coach. Likewise.
Thanks, Coach. All right, Rodney. So
that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. We get another look of things, right? And we get that end of it. So let's hear a player end of it, you know?
Okay.
So I'm going to bring Dominic Bogchi on. He was obviously at Notre Dame Prep, the quarterback.
Yes, he was.
Transferred to Central. Not something you see, right?
You don't
see that. You don't. So this is one of those backdoor transfers where you're going from a top 5A school going to a Phoenix Union program. So I thought it would be good to have him on to talk a little bit about his whole, you know, process.
Okay. Mr. Dominic.
Let's see if we can get him in. And mind you, he has not gone through the My Recruits communication class yet. So.
Oh, I get you. Oh boy.
No, Dom's good. Dom's probably in his car. He's actually, my guys are dedicated. He might have pulled over on the side of the road to do the interview.
There we go. I like it. I like it.
Come on,
Telling you.
Dom, get connected and turn it on.
Let's see. Connecting to audio. Dun, 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 dun.
We got some good stuff here, you know.
You
And
know what? This is great.
It's good to get it out. Obviously, some people are going to say negative things about it, and that's fine. It is what it is.
Right.
Come on, Dominic, let's go.
Hey, at the end of the day, you can't make everybody happy.
We got a busy schedule coming in here.
Oh, Dom.
He might be in a bad area.
He might
He's
be
trying to connect. Everybody, has your internet been messed up? My internet's been messed up.
Dude, it's been so slow. I'm surprised I'm hearing you clearly. It's a little windy over here in the lovely East Valley, so it's weird.
What are you in, Santan?
Santan Valley, baby. That's right. I'm on the other side of the world.
All right, so I'll give you a little background while Dom's connecting. So like I said, Dominic played freshman ball at Notre Dame Prep. Had a great freshman season, was looking forward to, you know, his sophomore year.
Right.
You know, knew Schweigert was going to get the nod there as a senior, rightfully so. And he just, I don't know, he just was looking for something a little different in a program. And his mom works right around the block at Central, and they've got a really special kind of academic special program over there that most people don't know about that, you know, suited him well. And Coach Hovick, I think, is a fantastic man. And, you know, when he turned around and Dom had transferred in, he was so excited about it. Coach Allen, who is over there as well, coaching, I think, the offense, was so excited about it. So it was a great situation. You know, it was one of those where, like I said, he went from the bigger school to the smaller school.
Right.
Because maybe he wasn't, you know, very comfortable there for whatever reason. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But you very rarely see them transfer down from a bigger school to a smaller school. So, Dom, are you getting in? If not, we're going to bring on Coach Jakes. We've got Rodney after this. I've got Coach Luke Jakes, the defensive coordinator from Brevard College, is going to join us as well. Talk a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
you know what?
Yeah.
Wait,
there you are, Dom. Are you in?
You know what? He got bad connection.
Get the video on. Let's get you piped in here.
There we go.
There you are.
Wait, but he's on mute, though. He got to unmute himself.
You good?
There it is.
Yep.
Dominic, thanks for joining us. Rodney Cox, Game Time
What's
Recruiting.
up, Dominic?
Hey, Coach.
Coach Perrone, as you know. So, Dom, let's get you caught up a little bit here. Don't want to put you on the spot, but we're talking about high school recruiting and the way transfers affect it. Okay. Obviously, you've worked with me for some time right now, and I explained to Rodney, you were a little different of a transfer because you went from the premier 5A program and transferred down into, quote unquote, what they would say down into the Phoenix Union smaller program at Central. I want you to explain what that was like in the transfer process for you.
Okay, well, it was definitely difficult to leave my school, you know, to leave what was comfortable for me, and kind of like I really enjoyed where I was at. This school, I feel like it's definitely been a very good opportunity and an opportunity that I kind of needed.
Okay.
Like it's almost fun, you know, to go to a smaller school that's not like everyone's well known, because you can kind of make yourself more well known, like get yourself out there more, and it'd be like to be like, oh, I did that. Like look back in 20 years, be like, hey, that was my class that took this small school, made them this great program.
So,
we were the class.
So Dom's kind of talking about, I think, being a big fish in a small pond.
Right.
You know, and if that's fair to say, where, you know, he's played Notre Dame Prep's had a lot of great athletes, and it's not that he was not looking forward to being one of those Notre Dame prep great athletes. It was just a situation that he maybe felt, hey, I could step in there and really lead
Make a difference.
a lot of young men and have some fun and maybe not so much be a part of a team, but help build a team, Dom. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I think that's very fair. It was almost like going from like a bigger pond instead of, because like a bigger pond that's already established, like a well-known pond, versus going like a smaller pond or a smaller aquarium and making them more famous aquarium. That's kind of how I view it.
And how has it been with your teammates there? Because I know you've made some great friends already.
Oh, it's been amazing. We're definitely getting a lot better, just changing the culture. I believe we have a great coaching staff at Central High School, probably one of the better coaching staffs in the and we're really looking forward to starting spring ball, 7-on-7, all that stuff. We got some good athletes came in. A lot more people are like looking forward. The overall culture shift has changed, and you can kind of feel it in the school. As you know, Coach Chandler, he's a great coach. And he's doing a great job.
Oh yeah, he is fantastic. Ron, you have any questions for Dominic?
I do. So Dom, just real quick. So you feel like you made the right decision for you with the transfer process and situation? Okay. Because again, that's really the biggest thing. And again, like what we talk about this all the time is make sure you do what's best for you. You know what I mean? Don't worry about other people going to say. So Dom, again, we're getting another opinion in this whole transfer deal is Dom said, hey, you know what? I want to get the decision for myself, for my family. And with that, you made the best decision. So most definitely, man, like go out there and kick some butt, you know what I mean? Have fun, you know, grow with, you know, Central. And just be that game changer. You know what I mean? So no, I love it. I'm ready to see what you're gonna do this coming up season.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting year. He's gonna, you know, he wasn't handed the keys to the bus, which I loved. Coach Hovick really, he made him come in there and practice and earn it. He's got some great athletes over there, and he's got a big time wide receiver in Carter Allen. So I think it's going to be exciting to see what those guys do. So Dom, thanks for joining us, telling us your story, and we'll see you down the road, bud.
Of course. Thank you, Coach.
See you guys. See you later, bud.
Nice meeting you. I like it.
Yeah. So Rodney, let's talk about this real quick. So
talk to me.
Dominic has a situation where he goes big fish. He's a fish in a big pond at Notre Dame Prep, right? And he transfers over to Central into a smaller pond.
Right. And it worked in his favor.
You know, so
yeah. Huh.
I don't know. I just God, I'm trying to leave a lot of the specifics out of it, but that's a situation that made sense, right?
Most definitely. Right.
He could have stayed at Notre Dame Prep, but he's like, hey, listen, it fits my family transfer wise. I'll serve my 5 games my sophomore year. He wound up having to sit a whole sophomore season because of COVID, because Phoenix Union didn't play.
Right, which is unfortunate.
You know, but you've got, I mean, look, most people don't know my son was a transfer. Now it was a situation where he went from Estrella Foothills to Mountain Ridge. I agree. I won my AIA case because it was totally a financial situation where we had to move. So, and it was a by the book thing, but he's not even playing football anymore. And he's starting to study law enforcement. And I always said, I'm not going to force my kids to play football. Like, if you give me a reason why, you tell me what you're going to do at your time, I'm all for it. You know, but that was a situation where he had transferred. And you said it's really about the individual situation, because obviously, you know, we could sit here and call out a couple big name athletes, right, that have transferred recently. And I just,
Okay, go eat it.
granted, some of them, it might be a better situation, right?
Right. Agreed.
But
I mean,
some
yeah.
of them might have put themselves in a worse situation.
Correct. I mean, again, we know why, and we're gonna keep it out of it, but we know why certain people transfer. We
That's it.
know. And I mean, let's be honest, everybody knows. Okay. So again, it's a
Okay.
touchy situation, but hey, we know.
Let's talk about that real quick before we bring
Okay.
on Coach Jakes. Let's talk about
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Do you blame the bigger colleges? Because we have to call it the way we see it now. Do you
Okay.
blame the bigger colleges for dishing out the uncommittable offers very easily to the programs, not so much the players? Because it's happening.
We know.
Okay.
You're
seeing kids, you got big programs in Florida. You've got big programs in California,
Texas,
Vegas. And you see their guys. I mean, I was good friends with a coach who ran one of those programs and told me flat out, I pick up most of my offers from practice film. So just sending out practice film to those Power 5 guys, he's getting his backups offered.
I know. Because here we go. At the end of the day, we all know this. It's all about keeping people happy. Okay. So if I can go and I can build a relationship with a ... school and give their backup some love while giving their starters some love, it keeps everybody happy. You know, that backup is happy, the starter is happy, that family's happy, both coaches are happy. So we get it. It's
crazy.
a game. I know.
You know what it is? It's a broken industry. It's a broken business.
Yeah.
It really is. And where people can say that we're part of the problem or we're trying to be part of the solution, both of us.
Right. I agree.
Because I think we are trying to tell them, listen, you could stay at a Sabino, you know, and go somewhere, you know,
right.
Or you can play at a Carl Hayden or a Central,
right, and still go somewhere, right? Agreed.
But they do get bigger opportunities,
right,
at a Hamilton, a Chandler, you know, a Saguaro. Those opportunities, those coaches do a great job.
They do.
But I don't know, maybe the answer is governing it a little bit harder. And that's something where maybe we could bring on, you know, the AIA and sit down with David Hines. He's been on my podcast before. He's a great man. I respect him and I respect his opinion. Let's bring Coach on and then we'll wrap this thing up and go to close.
No problem.
Let's see. I kind of put him on the spot on this one. Him and I were just talking today and it was like, hey, you want to come on and talk high school transfers on a recruiting show? And he was like, oh boy.
Right. Oh boy.
Oh man. He's doing it from the car, seatbelt and all.
What's up, Coach?
Oh,
Coach, thanks for joining us on the CPR recruiting show. Coach Perrone, as you know, my co-host, Mr. Rodney Cox from Game Time Recruiting. Definitely want to get his information too. Thank you for joining us. You know, I know you're in town actually. Your fiance is in Arizona, so you guys just got done over in North Carolina. Coach, introduce yourself to the listeners and give us your whole history real quick.
Well, my name is Luke Jakes. I'm the defensive coordinator, recruiting coordinator, and associate head coach at Brevard College. We're in Western North Carolina. We're a Division III school. I was born and raised in Mesa, Arizona. I went to Westwood High School, and then I actually went on to Scottsdale Community College, played for Coach Badowski, who's still coaching. And then I went to Southern Utah, but I didn't play. I wasn't good enough to play there. I didn't play there at all. Just finished up my degree and then started coaching with Coach Badowski. And then I met Coach Bill Kyatt, who's our head coach. He was coaching tight ends actually for the Arizona Cardinals. And then he started coaching with Scottsdale Community College, and he got the head coaching job in 2017 in the spring at Brevard College. And I just was lucky enough to go with him, and I've been there ever since. So now we're kind of seeing success these last 2 years. And
definitely tell us about your record last year, Coach.
So we
yeah.
went, 2019 was our last. I mean, we had a season. We just got done with this season. We went 4-1, but in 2019
Skip that.
we
You
went
skipped the COVID
8-2.
year.
Yeah, the COVID year we went 4-1. Finished co-champions of the USA South West Division.
The year
And then
before,
the year before we went 8-2. We played Carnegie Mellon in the Scotty Whitelaw Bowl, and so it was a program that won 2 games in 3 years. So we've definitely when we got with Coach Kyatt, we've definitely turned the program around, but it took us a couple of years. This is actually my 4th year here. So
I love Rodney.
Nice.
So Coach has actually not only taken some of my high school guys, but he's actually been successful even getting some junior college players to go
Yeah.
D3. And that's a special trait
That's
when you can be a Division III school. But I'll tell you what, right now, if you have guys get a chance to look at it, man, seriously, one of the most beautiful places on earth. I mean,
Yeah.
it is that North Carolina mountains, just everything about that place is just awesome. And guys, Coach does a great job with money. They pay for good top academic kids, and I've never sent anybody there that's come home. That's the important thing, Rodney, right?
That's good. Right.
So Coach,
Perfect.
Rodney and I are talking about, and being an Arizona guy, I mean, you're kind of in the middle of this thing in many ways, but I want to talk about it from a college end. I mean, here in Arizona and beyond, we've got kids transferring everywhere.
Left and right.
I mean, they're transferring from this school to that school, from this school to that school. It's just, I don't know. What do you make of this transfer stuff?
Yeah, I think there's obviously every case is case to case, but I think in general, I don't know. I mean, I know from the college experience, I could just tell you objectively that I've been coaching college for 8 years, and even at Brevard College, we've had many kids transfer, and I can honestly tell you only one of them has actually gone on, got a scholarship, played at a bigger school, and kind of did what he did. But I always agree. We have a bunch of kids this year that are actually graduating, becoming graduate transfers. I'm always down with that. I think that's the right way to do it because
Right.
You get your degree, you've kind of done what you need to do. I mean, it's mostly about the degree, and then you can move on. And I've always tried to help kids like that have aspirations of playing at a bigger school. But those are the kids I think that are doing the right way. Obviously, that's my opinion. But when these kids leave colleges, a lot of people don't understand. Do I still got you guys? Yeah. A lot of kids don't understand is that when they transfer schools, only about 65% of their credits actually transfer. So that's why you see some of these guys that have been to 3-4 schools that, they don't graduate for 6-7 years, and they're actually wasting a lot of money, and they're wasting a lot of their family's money. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, people, have different situations come up, and I was also a kid like that. So it'd be very hypocritical of me to say that, I didn't think I was a lot better than I thought I was, but just from my experience, objectively, it just has never really worked out with we've had probably 30-40 kids transfer, and only one of them in the last 4 years have really turned it around. Because, I don't know. I mean, that's totally subjective in my opinion, but I just know experientially, I just haven't really seen it work out for kids and their families personally.
And it's a great point, Rodney. And I don't know if you've been getting this recently, but I could tell you one of the questions that I've been getting that I've never heard before is, if we go D3, what's the transfer rule on transferring to a D1? And I've never been asked that question. Like literally, because like, you've got the mentality now is, well, there's nothing else there. So if I go to a D3, can I transfer to a D1? And what's the penalty? If you are not getting recruited by a Division I school and think you're going to go Division III to transfer to a Division I school, man, I don't know
It's gonna be tough.
I mean, it ain't happening.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
some of these
Go ahead,
guys
coach.
don't realize, even if you were to transfer, to a Syracuse or an Arizona State, I mean, those schools, you're sitting out a whole year, you're paying, $40,000 a year. And basically all the year or year before you were at the Division III school, you kind of just threw that money away because, a lot of your credits don't transfer. So I just think a lot of people don't understand that's the process when they transfer. But I always just tell guys, look, like for instance, at our school, a lot of Division III schools, they actually don't charge per credit. So you could do a semester of 19, 20 credits and easily graduate in 3 years and then be a graduate transfer. So if you still have aspirations of doing that, then go ahead and get your degree. And even any guys that right now are in the college game, I mean, they're all getting this year back with COVID. So if you could just graduate, you're technically, when you're a senior, you're really only a junior. And so then you can graduate, you can get your degree, which can take you a lot of places because football is not going to last forever. And then you still have your aspirations of it playing at a Division I school. And now Division I schools like, hey, I might take a chance on this kid for one semester and I can recruit him and I can, actually give him a scholarship because he's a graduate transfer. Yeah. I mean, that's, I just think that's the way to go. You could easily graduate at most Division III schools in a few years and then play your 4th year at a bigger school. But now you're kind of doing it the right way and you get your degree. But that's my opinion.
Rodney, anything to add?
You know what? That is definitely a good point. This is what you just brought up, Coach Lou, because again, I do a lot of kids that are going D3, but they want to go D1. You know what I mean? So they don't understand how hard that is, But my thing for you, Coach Luke, is cool. I got my son in here. So again, we going live.
Oh, that's good. We like it. We like unscripted.
I know, unscripted. Do you sometimes look at, like when you're looking at a transcript, do you take into consideration when a kid's been to 2 or 3 schools as far as like
Great question, Rodney. Great question.
Absolutely. It comes up all the time. I mean, I ask a kid, I say, my first question I ask is, why did you transfer? Right. And, and I just want to know. And, the coaching world, as you guys know, is kind of a small fraternity. So coaches know. I mean, other coaches communicate and other coaches talk. So I always want to know, and I always double check. I know our head coach, it's mandatory for us to call if we have a transfer to call the other university and communicate with the coaches because, we don't want a kid that, got kicked off the team for stealing or something like that. So I always, my first question is, why do you want to leave? Yeah. And then if it's something, a lot of kids are like, well, I'm from the area. I want to move back and be closer to home. And that's something different. But if it's, we kind of uncover whether or not it's legitimate of why they wanted to transfer.
Gotcha.
I had a young man to add to Coach's point, Rodney, and what you brought up. That was a great question because I just sent a JUCO guy to a Division II school, and he noticed on the transcript that he was somewhere else, and he happened to be real close to that coach, and he called me back, and he said, "I don't think I want to take a chance on this kid. Give me somebody else." It was just based off of that conversation. So you don't want to burn any bridges, man. That's the one thing my daddy taught me. Try to keep every bridge intact because you never know when you're going to have to come walking through that peak or valley and cross that bridge again.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Coach, we'd love to catch up with you while you're here. Rodney and I will take you out to lunch one day. We're big Chipotle guys. We hang out down there at Tempe Marketplace. So
perfect. I'm
we'll
actually on my way.
Hook up with you. Actually, you're in Arcadia, right? So you're not too far away.
Yeah, I'm actually on my way to the driving range. I know you said you wanted to maybe
golf.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to practice so I can get better.
Good stuff, Coach. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch up real soon.
All right, thanks, Coach, for having me. Appreciate it.
Take care.
See ya.
Well, Ronnie, that was
good.
Great first show. I think we've gently talked about some of the topics, right?
We did. Yes, sir.
Without saying, hey, this and hey, that, and this school, this and this school, that. So we got a couple of different opinions, but I think, we're going to, You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna wrap this thing up right here, right now.
Most
Me and you are
definitely.
we're gonna go right into our wrap up.
Boom.
We're gonna put this show out because I'm really excited to work on our next show, which is gonna be, I think we talked 20 top
2022s.
2022 recruits. We're gonna get
Ooh.
those guys out and about and start talking recruiting. So we wanted to get this out there. If you guys have a topic
Mhm.
that you want to talk about, you can reach out to Rodney or myself via Twitter, email, phone, our websites, whatever. We're going to give you
Mhm.
everything right now. Okay. Rodney, go ahead and give us your information.
Perfect. Rodney Cox, Game Time Recruiting and Consulting. The website is Game Time RC. Twitter is Game Time RC. Phone number 480-399-1396. Contact me. I'm here.
Hey guys, we're going to put our information on there. Okay.
Mhm.
And then, as you know, myrecruits.org or on Twitter at Coach Perrone. My phone number is on there. Everything is there for you to contact us. We're going to have Rodney's information in the posting of the show. We're going to have my recruits and my information in there. If you can't get one of us, get the other one. You get both of us. If you have a question, reach out to us.
Mhm.
We don't charge for answers. That's what I always say. You know,
Right.
we don't charge for answers. So if you want the personalized one-on-one help, you not only have one reputable company, but you have two that you can contact.
Most
Okay.
definitely.
So you could stay at the school you're at. You could stay
Mhm.
at your Call Hayden or your Tucson, you know,
Right.
and we can get you some of those looks.
Most definitely. Dude, that was good.
You know, we're keeping it real.
Mhm.
We're gonna try to breathe as much life into everybody's recruiting, guys. And Rodney, I want to say this, and I think you'll back me up.
Okay.
We're not just having our guys on this show.
Agreed.
You know, you work with 100 and something players. I work with over 100 and something players. We're not just going to take our guys and bring them on. So if you want to be on the show and you're listening to this and you heard this first show and you're following us, send us a DM. If you're a top 2022 recruit, we're going to do 22s, 23s, 24s. We're going to do sleepers. We're going to do incoming freshmen on the 25.
Let's go.
We're going to keep rolling with this thing, okay?
Right.
So we're going to put the contact information in there. Great first show. That gentleman in front of the 22 jersey is Rodney Cox. I am the one and only Coach Perrone. Thank you for joining us on the CPR Recruiting Show. We'll see you next week.
Perfect.